Angeles, NAASD-LA. You know my name. Our issues, our voices, our views. This is Politics in Black. What's happening, family? We are back and we are live on another broadcast of Politics in Black, brought to you by the NAASD Los Angeles National Assembly of American Slavery Descendants. Friday, you know I'm feeling good.
I can tell you feeling good,
oh, well,
Chad.
I'm feeling good.
I think it must be the AB312 on here.
It's got to be something. It's something like that. I mean, we had a huge week. You know, a lot has happened. We were going to talk about that a little bit up front. But first, if it's your first time here, my name is Chad Brown. I'm only one half of the hosting team. She's sitting next to me. She's a little close because we got an in-studio guest.
Woo, we haven't had an in-studio guest since like the beginning of COVID. Right. So we happy today.
We're getting back in. We're getting back in. And so we're going to have some good conversations today with some local candidates that are running. First, we have a congressional candidate, and we have somebody that's going to be running for mayor of Inglewood. We hope. We're going to see if she makes it here. But anyway, Friday, you want to talk about AB312? Just say what's up to the people. Say whatever you want to say.
I think that you did a fantastic job. I think NAASD, the LA chapter, ARC, CJEC, I think you all are doing a phenomenal job.
Tiffany Quarles,
I think we have made it known that we are unhappy with the recent vote that happened. And we're going to move and we're going to rebound from it and we're going to be stronger for it.
Absolutely.
So there's that.
You know, the thing I noticed Friday is that after that happened, because we were all disappointed. Everybody, you know, was expecting a vote.
Yes, I was in my
Thursday.
feelings.
Yeah, I think we all are. I think we all were a little bit. But the energy in the people that resulted from that, people got
recharged.
That's what I'm talking about, fam. Get mad, but channel that anger.
Yes.
Channel that anger into the work, and let's get active. Because now we got a month. We got a month to get ready. Because we know that vote's coming in March.
And I think we have one of our commercials. Actually, people can activate. There is a CJEC meeting call to action today. So when that shows up and the information is on the screen, make sure you tap in.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get to it. Let's get to the show.
Let's get right in it. So today we wanted to come and we wanted to talk to some local California candidates because we're getting into election season. We're in 2022 now, so midterms are right around the corner. And we want to make sure that our community knows the candidates, knows who's supporting your agenda items, knows who's supporting reparations locally and nationally. So today we've got some exciting ones. We have
Brother Reverend William Moses Somerville.
Right.
He got a real name, y'all. His brother William Moses Somerville is here. Born and reared. That's a southern name if ever.
That's a southern name.
Born and reared in Champaign, Illinois, as the youngest of three parents, Willie T. and Valerian Alexander Somerville. They were public school educators from the segregated South. See, we knew, we could tell. They named them just right.
Can't hide from your people.
Not at all. Listen, look, Mr. Somerville has extensive experience in military chaplaincy. I should know that. My father was a chaplain. I should know that word. You want me to say it twice? Clinical chaplaincy and serving congregations among various faith traditions. As ordained Baptist minister, his professional experiences began working with military personnel as an Air Force Reserve chaplain and youth minister at a Presbyterian church after seminary. Look, his bio goes on and on. Currently, he is pursuing a congressional district 42 out of Long Beach area.
That's
right.
Right.
We want to bring him in and welcome him to the show.
Welcome, brother.
I am peacock proud, honeymoon happy to be here.
That's the kind of energy. You know I love that.
I first just thank you. I'm so glad God made you all.
Aww.
And I hope that God won't regret making you two.
Aww.
Because you all are phenomenal. I say that in the spirit of Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman, mystic theologian, very profound professor out at Morehouse College. Mm-hmm. And basically, he was lonely in his world.
Yeah.
And then got to Morehouse to teach, and he told the Morehouse commencement at one of the chapels, and they named the chapel after him, Howard Thurman Chapel. And he said, Morehouse, don't let God regret for making you.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I further
you,
tip my hat off to you all in that same spirit. Like I said, I like the heavy lifting that you all have been doing. I've been gleaning from it. I'm the richer for it. Once again, congratulations, Brother Chad Brown.
Congratulate all of us.
AB
right?
3121.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sister Friday Jones, how you moderate, work with Camila, right?
Yes, we all work.
Like I said,
it's a community. That's all hands, brothers. It's all hands.
And you showed up. We've seen you.
You did.
You came to our town hall. I think you were at several of our general meetings.
Yeah.
So you've been very
Of course,
active too.
yeah.
So we have to,
No, we
give
got to
the
pay
nod
attention.
back.
We have to listen. We have to observe and articulate and put that forth.
That's right.
I'm an interpreter of scripture, so I'm interpreting you all scriptures
Oh,
and
hey
giving
now.
voice to it.
I
So
sound
Look at that. I'm
fancy.
on a
I
Sunday.
know,
The
right?
Son of the River
Thank you.
came in on a Sunday. All right.
yeah, no, but just really love being with my people, right?
Absolutely.
You mentioned my parents. I'm the beneficiary of the desegregation project. My parents, I'm a great child of not privilege, but policy. Okay. And we'll get into that later, I'm sure, with questions that you may have. But both of my parents now deceased, but I am very much in tune with the legacy that they left, not only 48 years of love, but also the fact that they would not accept us being anything better than wouldn't accept anything less than being our best selves.
The best self.
So yeah, I'm just glad to be in the house.
So look, now we always talk platform.
Yes.
And so one of our main complaints, and we don't have that complaint about you, and folks, you can go to somervilleforcongress.com right now
Check
to
out
check
the
out
website.
the platform.
Check out the website.
But Black African Americans are literally at the top of your platform.
That's right.
You can't get to number 2 without seeing the number 1 position.
I'm a black man.
Hey.
In America.
Yeah.
Hey.
And because of you all's work, we don't have to hide loving us anymore on the down low.
Oh man, say that again. Wait. You got to say that one more time because that's beautiful.
And
that's
politically,
where we're
it's
trying to
important.
get. That is where we're trying to get to.
Right.
Yeah.
So once again, with the work that you all have done and bust the doors wide open,
thank you, brother.
It's time for political candidates and really politicians and people, obviously, to stop loving black folks on the down low.
That's right.
And so,
that's right.
So no, you're going to see it. And I feel like this race, this time, this moment is the time where we can penetrate to disrupt the status quo.
Yeah.
The spirit in my spiritual world has really been moving through California in a very profound way. Because when I was elected as a top elected delegate for the DNC convention in 2016 out of South Orange County, okay? And it was in support of Bernie Sanders, but I had reparations on my mind.
Yeah. Yes,
Let's
brother.
be very
Yes,
clear
brother.
about this.
Yes.
And so now that, like I said, with y'all up here in South Central, LA doing the work, I'm like, oh, wow. We got a tribe. And we have a codified term
Once you find your community.
for being a tribe now.
That's right.
Now we, for all intents and purposes, we can talk about Pan-Africanism holistically because it's just not a bland kind of blackness, a bland kind of Africanness, and to further affirm our Americanness, all the much more, which I follow in the spirit of one of my heroes, or really my third hero after my parents, and that's Paul Robeson. So,
Absolutely,
Thank
man.
you.
That's a incredible.
So this time you talked about going as a delegate in 2016 for the DNC, and the landscape changed, particularly around the reparations space. But what made you personally feel like now was the time for you to run?
this has really been 6 years in the making.
Oh, okay.
When I won that delegate seat, it was put in my ear that because I won that delegate seat and outpaced other congressional candidates in that race, they said, you may want to consider running for Congress. And I'm like, in South White Orange County, come on, let's make it make sense.
I mean, it's mixed because you kind of have Long Beach, and then there's then it shifts. Once you leave Long Beach,
No.
That used to be the case. That used to be the case.
I was living in South Orange County at the time, which had nothing to do with Long Beach.
Okay.
At all.
Gotcha. Yeah.
When I moved back to Long Beach, and we'll further get into the story, I'm sure, back to Long Beach from South Orange County, that's when we moved there. And my wife said, my number one endorser and the one who gives me permission to do this thing, she said, I see you running for Congress here.
Wow.
And now is the time. She gave me a critique and a challenge. And that was when COVID came out, and I'm glad to be your first guest coming out this COVID thing. So thank you. She shared with me, like I said, a compliment and a challenge. And she said, had we had run in 2018, we had run, right?
She's not lying, though. It takes everybody. When you run in your whole household, that's right. Your whole household is running.
She said, had we run in 2018, you would have at least contributed to avoiding this pandemic, not COVID, but avoiding this pandemic, or you would have raised some cane about it. And so she said, that's the kind of congressman I need.
Yeah.
So
amen to that.
Yes. So that's where we are. And like I said, Bernie delegate, and of course Bernie Sanders told his supporters to run for office. And I'm like, okay, let's see how we can make this thing work. Start doing the collaborating now.
Yeah.
Right. Let's start
and talk about that, because I always talk. I think that in terms of we are always upset about Democrats. Black folks now have gotten fed up with Democrats. But the county commission, and particularly the LA County Commission, is one of the largest ones in the country.
Correct.
And often we don't even know how to engage that process. So how did you go into a county committee and wind up even being elected to be a delegate?
So you're asking really a loaded question. So let me try. So
you can back it up.
No. Here's the thing. I didn't have to. I circumvented going through county committee.
Okay. Well, tell us how you did that.
So
because it's
no.
gonna take us everywhere. Yeah.
So the Democratic National Convention, they have elections for delegates to go to convention.
Okay.
And most specifically in California.
Okay.
And really, I did not expect to get that seat. Like, nobody who really knows me in South Orange County, let alone y'all just learning about me. So, like, who really knows me?
Yeah.
Go to Champaign-Urbana, my hometown, all day. But so I'm just like, yeah. And I really liked it like that because I was like trying to hide too.
Yeah.
But I just the elected positions opened up, did a little campaign, and they said we need Bernie delegates when we go to Philly. And so when I, like I said, inquired about it, the chair of the Orange County Progressive Democrats of America said, you can run, but there's no way you can win. And he was really right because, once again, no name recognition, horrible campaigning at the time, but we were all to meet in caucus. And there were 70 applicants for the 6 delegate spots. And so we were all to give 30-second speeches.
Wow.
30 seconds.
30
Because
seconds.
they had to get through all 70 people?
We had exactly.
Wow.
Gave my 30-second speech, and I'm like, okay, we'll see how this goes.
That's what you call having your elevator pitch ready. Because
That
that's
is
about
correct.
the 30 seconds.
Well, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And so we went through it, and then once I finished, one white lady, she said, okay, a lot of people are about to bother you after this whole thing is over. I'm like, why is that? She said, because they were voting for you, and you really captivated us. And so I'm like, okay. She said, but I want to talk to you about how we can get inmates currently in prison voting rights as well. Because when we talk about statistics and data for black folks, we really don't include
That's right.
folks in jail.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
And though they are human as well.
Right.
Of course they said those people, but I get it. but I said, so through that, and like I said, after that, the rest is Black history.
And you just been gaining momentum. So we know that you are in Twitter Spaces, you and Greg Marcel Dixon, who is a reparations candidate running out of South Carolina.
That is correct.
But we know that in terms of your campaign, you're not taking money from developers, petroleum industry, private prison companies,
That's right.
healthcare companies, and charter schools. So tell us how you kind of came to this is how you're going to fund your campaign.
Yeah. Fortunate enough, like I said, because I have the parents that I had, make no mistake, that was a contributing factor. My hometown has raised $10,000 for me. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Once again, with the momentum that I've acquired from being a delegate now 6 years later, back in 2016, and twice elected, that has gained momentum. Now, we're just getting the name out there, as I thank you all for having me on this platform. I'm very humbled to be on this platform and in you all's presence. And now, like I said, we're just doing fundraisers and going from there, collecting, like I said, individual contributions, no corporate PAC, no business PAC money, because I need my freedom. I like my freedom.
Absolutely.
And one of and so what was very disheartening, as you all were clearly grieving over what happened with AB 3121, solely is because of money in politics, nothing else. If we had politicians who were not bossed and bought,
Right.
the vote would have gone through.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, we have a political system that is maintaining the standardization of whiteness through basically being bought by the political elite.
I want all my politicians talking like this, just for the record. I want them all to sound like Mr. Somerville here. So let me ask you something.
Well, I ain't a politician too, right? So,
but let me get back to your platform real quick, because I did take a look at your website, and on there I love this specificity that you have around Black people, right? I don't see that often. I don't think we
very often anywhere.
Exactly. So I think you are you're leading the way in that. And I was also looking through, and I saw reparations several times on your website.
Comprehensive reparations.
Comprehensive reparations.
Right.
I've heard you use that term before, so I want to talk a little bit about that. Yeah. But tell us your plan. If you get into office, what is your plan around reparations specifically? So,
a couple of things. One, I don't know how much I can do as a freshman congressman. However, once again, my great policy, being a child of great policy, I have a relative who is a congressman and a senior congressman right now.
Okay.
And he's endorsed our campaign. We'll come out with an announcement pretty soon. I'll tell y'all this after we shut down the live. And he knows what it's like because he has written the most aggressive bill that has benefited Black folks in the past 30 to 40 years. Okay. But my start is, most specifically as a hospital hospice chaplain, I'm going to pursue to get on the health subcommittee.
Okay.
Because we can start making the argument not only how systemic racism is just a legal issue, but it's a health crisis.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's the angle I'm going to start with.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough getting elected, y'all come volunteer. Let's pound this pavement, get out in the streets every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that, though, on racism as a health crisis, because that's something, there's precedent there now.
Correct.
Part of our affiliate network in Chicago,
yes.
Your home state there, they recently got legislation, I believe it was,
yes, they
right?
did.
That racism was declared a health crisis.
Right, as well as in Rochester and Boston, I believe. Yeah.
There's some precedent there, so I like that.
that. And like I said, I want to take y'all with me.
Yeah, we going,
brother.
We
make
going.
no mistake, y'all. I can't do this by myself. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, you got to take people with you.
Yeah.
So that's how I move.
Okay.
That's how we roll.
Yeah, and a true grassroots candidate as well. Not funded by any corporate PACs. You are pretty much self-funding and small donations around, right?
Excuse me, real quick. Let me interject.
Yeah, no,
real
please,
quick.
Please.
Hold on to your question though.
Yeah.
I have great team support.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great team support that literally are buying into the vision for what I really cannot afford. Let me
Absolutely.
be very clear
No.
about this. There is a reason why, there's a reason why black folks can't advocate for black folks in politics because because of the whole wealth gap,
The money.
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm fortunate to have really great people working behind me.
That's awesome.
I was filling out some Ballotpedia profiling platform, and when I identified, obviously, comprehensive reparations as one of my main top 3, he was like, that sounds really exclusive in how you're talking about reparations. I said, that's exactly it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
You know, because he was like wanting to say, well, let's include Native Americans. I said, nope, they got treaties. We'll
They have
exercise and
treaties
create
and a whole
and
governmental
create those.
department.
That's right.
And they were like, well, we need to talk about Africans that were immigrants. I said, they got their own countries. Let's stop destabilizing. Let's move on. Like,
I love
that's
that.
how we move.
But that's
So-
that's the type of backbone that we need to see from this new crop of politicians that we see coming out of the grassroots. So I
yeah, and we
appreciate
got to
you.
get in, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
No,
cut
I was
you
going
off.
to. So you are part of this new wave of a new archetype of candidate out of our community, right out of the black community. And so I see this popping up now, more and more often, where we have, grassroots black men and women, black American men and women saying that they want to take power, they want to represent us, they want to bring a black agenda, they want to represent reparations. So in your experience, what would be your advice to others around the country who are thinking about, sitting at home? I've been there. You broke, you don't have food, you wonder what can you do? And some that might have interest in politics and saying, I see William Somerville out in California. I'm in, Georgia, Alabama. What can I do?
Yeah. My knee-jerk response is, who are you coalitioning with that's not U.S. descendant of chattel slavery?
Okay.
Like who can listen to you and be your real friend?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I would start, but clearly that's not the finish.
Yeah.
Because you need to stay rooted and connected with a chapter like NAASD-LA in order to say, okay, what are my people who are really doing the work,
Yeah.
so I won't co-opt what they got going on, and we can be in cooperation
Yes.
moving forward,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And identify what the conversations nationally and globally are happening in order to make it local and interpersonal.
Gotcha.
That would be a start.
I got you.
But once again, being a child of great
Yes.
policy, I have the social network. I think as it's being further brought to my attention as I'm oblivious around.
Yeah.
So work on me. God is not finished with me yet. Pray for me.
We will.
But yeah. So that's, I would probably say, how we move this thing.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Because
yeah, go ahead.
Because once again, we're not solely populated, but also I think we have a luxury just being here in California
Absolutely.
to advocate for the South, Midwest, Black Americans that it's just, we just ain't got it there.
Yeah.
And so that's really where, my heart is as well. My heart is in the Midwest, but my soul is in the South, right?
I love it. I love it.
But, so that's just how we work in this thing. And we go from there. So.
Yeah. One of the things I like that you're talking about is you were actually cultivated. You're curated, it sounds like, out of the grassroots, because you have this policy, it's a great policy network, right? And they identified you as someone, skilled and talented who had a passion, right?
Now, wait. Before you even ask that question, has the Democratic Party come and put some money on your
No.
campaign?
That's a great one. Good, yeah,
No.
let's get that one on the record.
Yeah, that's why I asked it.
No,
Just,
there are Democrats.
Yes.
Let's be very clear about this, but not the Democratic Party.
Okay.
And I'm not expecting it
Yes.
because I was also fortunate enough to be elected as a top delegate for the 73rd Assembly District out of South Orange County for the California Democratic Party when we were trying to push to get Kimberly Ellis as the chair.
Okay.
But they chose the sexual abuser over her, which I'm still having issues around that, obviously. But obviously he was later kicked out, sued, all that great stuff. So what was my point? So to that point, out of that, that's how the momentum further picked up. Feel the burn to talk about the Democratic Party. That's it. So out of that experience, I already knew this thing is set and rigged and in motion.
Yeah.
Because the chair that they got to replace that individual, Eric Bauman is his name, is a union guy, Rusty Hicks, who now accepts fossil fuel money, police union money, and California Democratic Party is just as tainted.
Yeah.
DCCC, like I said, because I'm not an elected official, they're going for the other darlings in the Democratic Party and whatnot. However, like I said, we're grassroots. We have on roster 150 volunteers right now for our campaign and climbing.
Okay, so if people want to volunteer with the campaign,
Let
here's
'em know.
where you get to do the plug.
That's right.
Tell them where they can go.
SomervilleforCongress.com/volunteer.
Yeah.
And on our page, on the volunteer section of our page, you will see all the events that we have done. Our campaign slogan, motto, mantra is serve the people, which we really mean that. We've given over, as a campaign, over 3,500 pounds of food, 300 to 400 toys, and we've had an entrepreneurial expo business. And we had our kickoff, which I was trying to get y'all to come talk. But, but I'm glad to be here, obviously.
Absolutely.
So we really mean that and moving forward. So, yeah, thank you.
Yes, we want people to show up for you. We do know that this work, I ran for office and I'm glad I ran for 5 minutes. It was a learning experience, but I don't think people understand how much of a personal investment it is when you are running for office. And so just talk a little bit about sort of the demand on you in terms of what it takes. Because you're here with us today. We know you preached a sermon today. We see you on the rooms in Twitter Spaces.
Working
you got
hard.
live events that you're doing. It takes a lot to run. So talk about how you're maintaining sort of your mental health, your physical health as you're doing this, because it's actually a marathon. It's
totally a marathon.
Yes.
Yeah. Or as Jakari Arthur said out of Louisville, he was like, you're playing a game and you won't know the points until you get to the end of the game. But one of the challenges I would say with all politicians, and the problem I would say I have with politicians, is the fact that they're not centered people going into this.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
Come on.
Know the people who love you and know who you love, and understand that you must love people even if they don't love you back. Okay. So that's one. As a spiritual care provider, I'm dealing, in the clinical setting most specifically, I'm dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of people dying, and a lot of abuse. And what's problematic for me, most specifically as a hospice chaplain, is where we talk about policy, is when patients are choosing to go on to hospice in order to eventually die because they cannot afford health care, because they cannot afford aggressive treatment. They cannot, it's just so it's almost like, as you mentioned earlier, in light of the anger around AB 3121, that's my anger is fueling me here.
Yeah.
I'm not, as much as I'm hopeful with you all and feeling hopeful being in your presence, I'm really coming from a place of hopelessness.
I think we all are. I think we all are. I think that's part of this journey.
This is survival mode, I think, we have not seen in a very long time. And we can see it here, I think, in California in particular, because of our unhoused family.
Exactly.
And most of the unhoused family looks like us. And
Absolutely.
to your point, they are struggling with significant mental health issues. And I would argue that the mental health issues are also a result of there's a point where you're falling, right? And if you never get caught, the only place for you to go, just like the body shuts down for pain, is for you mentally to check out. Like that mental checkout is you protecting yourself from your condition. But when you stay in that low sort of frequency space so long, that becomes your normal.
That's right.
And so we definitely see it here. If you had in terms of okay, you get to Congress, you don't know as a new Congress member what you'll be able to affect. What if over the 4 years, let's say you get a second term, what are like your top 3 things that you want to make sure you get legislation out the gate?
Yeah, money out of politics, push for comprehensive reparations, but depends on how much company I have up there.
We're trying to get it to you.
We're trying.
We're trying.
We are.
But once again, I got to get in too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So comprehensive reparations, and then let's talk about climate justice.
Okay. Let's talk about that. I was so upset. Everybody wanted to do Wakanda Forever. Okay. And, that brother is from a cancer alley in South Carolina. He died from cancer. His brother had cancer.
Oh, yes.
And it's almost like a disconnect, but yet we want to talk about solar energy and windmill energy. And I'm like, when we doing the cleanups though?
Real full stop. So I shared with you my parents being from the segregated South. Most specifically, when I talk about my father, Willie T. Somerville. He was born in Sunshine, Arkansas, raised in Crossett, Arkansas. When he got his scholarship from the Georgia Pacific paper mill, because my grandfather worked for the Georgia Pacific paper mill, he went off to college, got his master's degree, and he wanted to go back. My father wanted to go back to his community in Crossett, Arkansas, because that's who cultivated him and raised him, and what have you. My grandfather, arguably in his infinite wisdom, whom my middle name is named after, Moses Somerville, told him, "You can't stay here because we'll only see you as son." That's what they called him in the South. You got the nicknames. Fast forward to 7 years later, unfortunately, the waste from Georgia Pacific paper has caused cancerous activity going on literally in Crossett, Arkansas.
Same in some of the towns. They were in some of the towns in the South that my folks are from too, and those paper plants left all kinds of waste behind. And so
that's where we are when we talk about climate justice. But
you have been phenomenal and fantastic.
And just quickly, people are going to support you. Hit your website. What is the timing of the election? Just so folks know.
Okay. Really, the timing is now.
Okay.
Because early voting ballots go in May 3rd.
Okay.
Even though the primary is on my birthday, June 7th, which I also share with Gwendolyn Brooks, which I also share with Nikki Giovanni, which I also share with Prince.
You got me a Prince.
But yeah, primary is June 7th. Early voting ballots are mailed out May 3rd.
Okay.
So we need to hit the ground running now. Like I said, come out and volunteer. Just sign up. We'll follow up with you. Donate. I'm only accepting individual contributions and maybe a group pack here or there. But that's really about it. Because our needs we have all the resources and people in place. We just, once again, taking care of the ads, the other bills, that'd be it.
You said it best. We got to get you in there.
We will get you in there. And so for those listening, SomervilleForCongress.com is the website. Please follow, donate, volunteer with Mr. Somerville. We thank you so much for joining us here at Politics in Black.
Absolutely.
Man, like I said, y'all got me like, if this is heaven, I want to stay.
So you are welcome anytime, brother.
Thank you.
You're welcome anytime.
And I'm going to take you on that too.
Absolutely. Family, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. I think we're about to go to a quick break,
We are. ETM.
We'll be right back.
So if you were to bring the black share of wealth at least to the black share of the population, it would require an additional at least $10 trillion. So if you were to bring the black share of wealth at least to the black share of the population, it would require an additional at least $10 trillion.
What's happening, family? We are back after break for the second segment of Politics in Black, once again brought to you by the National Assembly of American Slavery Descendants in Los Angeles. That was a great first segment.
That was wonderful, and it's not going to stop there. We're going to keep on rolling and moving the show on. And so we have with us Fedricia Dixon. She is a mother, community activist, community organizer, legal professional. Wanting to be more impactful in her work, she decided to study law and graduated from Trinity Law School with a Juris Doctor degree in May 2021. Her legal studies, Fedricia worked as a law clerk for the Los Angeles County Public Defender's Office. We always love the defenders.
A defender.
Working in both juvenile and adult courts in Inglewood and Compton, California. Staying true to her commitment to positively impact the youth, she served as a mentor to middle and high school girls from Compton, Mayor Aja Brown Young's Ladies Empowerment Initiative Bloom. At Trinity Law School, she served as president of the Black Law Students Association. And in 2022, it says she is also you are also a 2022 Law for Black Lives, L for BL legal fellow. So welcome to the show.
Welcome to Politics in Black.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy and honored to be here.
Absolutely. Well, we wanted to have you here because obviously you are running for mayor of Inglewood. Yes. And for folks that don't know California, don't know Los Angeles, can you talk a little bit about the Inglewood community?
Although after the Super Bowl, I'm not even an NFL fan, but after the Super Bowl, I almost think everybody knows where Inglewood is.
You know, they kept saying Los Angeles, when they were talking about the Super Bowl. But yes, Inglewood is the place that the Rams Stadium is in. The Clippers Stadium is being built there. Yep, SoFi. We have the Forum there as well. We are also, people think that LAX is inside of Inglewood, but actually it's not a part of our territory, but LAX is right there. We're about 9 miles. We're very small. And we have a little over 100,000 residents. And, we're just a suburb of Los Angeles.
And the demographics of that 100,000?
We are 99% Black and brown.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
We represent in Inglewood. And so you, like Mr. Somerville, have hopped into this, anyone running for office will always get a blessing from me because it's hard work. So this time around, what really pulled you in at this time?
Honestly, I started to feel obligated.
Okay.
I never pictured myself running for any type of office, but my heart is in the community and in helping my people. So when I finished law school, I was just pondering about how will I utilize my skill set and my knowledge first. And I knew for a fact that I wanted to use it to impact positively my community. And, Inglewood has had very terrible leadership for quite some time now. And we all have wanted someone to step up. So it kind of boiled down to if nobody else is going to do it, I have the education, I have the skill set, and I'm capable of doing a good job at it. So I might as well step up. So here we are.
And when the ancestors call on you, they'll make you do stuff, right?
Everything that I'm doing is in purpose,
That's
for
right.
sure.
That's
so
right.
I am definitely following the lead of my ancestors, and I am walking towards my destiny, for sure.
Let me ask you a quick question, because you said something I thought was interesting. The history of bad leadership in Inglewood, right, which has resulted in a myriad of kind of social and economic problems for Black folks in Inglewood. So on your platform, give us your top 3, 5 initiatives. How are you going to tackle some of the ills that we see in our community in Inglewood today?
So first of all, I believe that we need to invest in our community and the people, right? So Inglewood, we currently have a budget that's it was supposed to be $140 million a year, but right now we're looking at about $170 million. And out of that, we have $0 going towards anything social service related. We have $0 going towards anything education related. Gentrification is happening in a very big way in Inglewood as well, where we have like the median income of a resident being $27,000 and the median cost of a house on the market being $815,000. So some of my top priorities include investing in social services programs, investing in education, putting a clear plan around gentrification or stopping gentrification. I know that we cannot completely stop it, but there are things that the city can do to step in to be able to stabilize rent control in our community, supplement rent, as well as provide opportunities for Inglewood residents to become homeowners.
Ownership, absolutely.
Exactly,
Yes.
without having to pay that $815,000
Yes.
median rate.
Yes.
So those are some of the things that are very important.
No. And one thing I would like to ask you about is, because we obviously have a bad homeless problem here as well in Inglewood. Particularly where you see a lot of black homelessness, right? It's kind of indicative of when we see the numbers, like we study the data, right? When we see the numbers that we are 40% of the homeless and 50% of homeless families, Inglewood is very indicative of that. So I'd like to hear kind of your thoughts and what could you do as mayor to help address some of that, unhoused population?
Housing, provide housing.
Yeah.
And that it goes into the social services piece, because if we actually put money there, we can fund programs. We don't even have to build housing because we have so many empty buildings.
Yeah.
That we can go in and actually repurpose for that. Housing. House them. You got homeless people. What you need to do is figure out a way to house them, because the city spends more money keeping them on the streets and cleaning up, and it's cheaper. It's like $20,000 to house a person. But then they say that sometimes the city might spend 2 times that just cleaning up the homelessness problem. We're not cleaning it up because they're still sleeping on the street. So providing housing. And with us being such a small community, it's not as big of an issue as like Los Angeles. So this is an issue that we can really tackle and resolve.
Yes.
And make some progress.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I did like seeing on your site, because I've broached this subject with LA and LA City Council, you talk about the liability for Inglewood Police. Because it's a self-funded, it's a self-insured, the city of Inglewood insures. And so if there's liability, it comes out of the budget and it's paid to whoever the recipients are, the complaints are. And so has there been any talk about potentially having like an outside third party come in to actually rate the officers and rate their history, so that in terms of self-insuring, it's almost like you give a report card, A, B, C, D, F, and, if you're in that C through F, maybe you don't get to stay, or maybe you have to have some retraining or something. Has there been any talk about that in your campaign, or things you're trying to do to really address, that liability that the people of Inglewood ultimately carry and pay for?
Okay, so my main concern with our police department is, outside of the fact that they don't have a strong relationship with the community, there is a lack of accountability, and then there also is no transparency. And so we're also dealing with a different type of issue because our current mayor was an Inglewood police officer. So what we're seeing is really him protecting them a lot. So it's like there is a wall between the police department, the community, and also a part of that wall is our legislative body that will not allow for anything for them to be checked in any kind of way, to be framed.
Now, is that because of their union? Because I know, LA's police union is very strong. So is it their union kind of being in between, or is it just the culture of?
I think it's the culture.
Okay.
Our city is being run by a police officer, so they get precedence over everything. And then we also have other police forces that we are paying out of our city's taxpayers' money to come in and police our community. But yeah, like I said, it's all up to our legislative body, and our police department currently gets over 55% of our entire budget. And that number is astronomical when you consider the fact that they don't solve crimes. They're like less than a 20% rate of actually solving crimes.
Wow.
They definitely don't prevent crimes.
Wow.
And, you know, they aren't engaging in the community as they should.
Understood. Now, we are a reparations organization.
Yeah.
And so I have to address reparations in terms of a platform. I don't think I see it here. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I don't necessarily see it in a prominent way. And I know municipalities, generally speaking, right now are struggling, right, with how to have a reparations conversation. I spoke recently at West Hollywood's city council because they wanted to start an initiative for reparations, and they came into their city charter in 1985, and I was just kind of like, what are you doing? I think that's inappropriate because you were part of the county of Los Angeles, and so we know the state is doing a reparations initiative. Slow your roll, wait and see what the city, what the city of Los Angeles does and what the state does, and then you can kind of figure out as a smaller municipality what it is that you want to do. So what do you think in terms of Inglewood and Inglewood's history? And they do have some history with KKK.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Inglewood was once a white community, and then around the 60s and 70s when Black people began to try and move into Inglewood. At first, they wouldn't let us move into Inglewood, right? But then once we started to be able to purchase homes in Inglewood and move into Inglewood, they left, and, you know, it's called white flight.
Yeah.
So now with the stadiums being there, they're all trying to come back.
Yeah.
But you're right, reparations is not on my website at all. But all of my career objectives are legislative focused, and in particular, the number one piece of legislation that I desire to work on and help get passed is reparations. I am a descendant of enslaved people. I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm only 2 generations removed from slavery.
Wow.
You talking my language now, Nashville. Okay.
Yeah, so it's very important to me. And even with me running for mayor right now, this is like the entry level for my career, right? The past 8 years, I've done a lot of work in the community. That's all been volunteer work. This is the first job that I'm actually applying for to get paid and actually, you know, start my career in public service work. But it's the beginning, you know. I have other objectives and career goals, and reparations and specifically Black-focused legislation, that is my number one priority.
Absolutely.
Well, however we can work with you, because legislation is one of the things that is a strong point for us. We did work on the AB 3121 bill. There was language that our organization and one of our other member organizations worked on together. And so even as a small municipality, I think if you need guidance, you know, in terms of what that might look like, because Evanston, and I don't know how much you follow reparations, but Evanston, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, they did put forth a bill, but it is only able to serve 16 people. It's basically a housing voucher program. And so that informs us, right? That lets us know, okay, this is not necessarily what we want a local initiative to look like, but then it also challenges us to say, well, what does a good local initiative look like? And I try to tell people to kind of look at budgets, because governance has different levels. And if you see what your municipality's budget is, that's where you go to start making repairs. You don't go outside of that. And the federal government has the ultimate sort of responsibility because they have the largest budget. And so, And so however we can be of help with
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, let's talk about that process, because it's coming up, right? So tell the folks the timing of the election in Inglewood. Are you running against the incumbent? Is the incumbent running again?
Yes, he will not quit for some reason.
Okay, and he is the sounds like the police union is backing him, obviously.
Yes.
So tell the folks the timing of the election. Tell the folks if you have any endorsements that you want us to know about. And then how can people get involved and help support you?
Whether it's funding or volunteer or whatever. Tell them how to do it.
The election is November 8th.
No primary? in
No.
Inglewood?
I mean,
wow.
you know, I think it's mainly because not a lot of people actually want to engage in public service work in this manner in Inglewood.
Okay.
We even have had struggles regarding voting. So we have like 63,000 registered voters, and depending on the election, we may have 2,400 people come out to vote.
Okay.
So people just aren't really engaging. And from me communicating with my community, a lot of them say they're hopeless. Like, we've had bad leadership for so long. They don't think that anything's going to change. They don't trust politicians. And that's another thing. I'm not a politician.
Yeah, I heard you
at
say
all.
public service. I
Yeah.
said, okay. All right.
Amen.
It's true. But if anyone would like to support me, I will be so grateful for that. My website is FedriciaDixon.com, which is my first and last name. You can sign up to volunteer. You can donate there as well. You can reach out to me and communicate with me there too.
Yeah. Well, we want to stay connected with you.
Yeah,
Ms.
because
Dixon.
you've
And
got
yeah.
some time, and so we can try and see how we can support some of those efforts for you. I know with volunteers, that's often like a challenge getting people to show up, and so if we can stay connected when you're having events, we can at least put a blurb out to our mailing list.
Thank
So that
you.
people, because part of the reason that we're doing these shows, and we started local, but we wanted to really, one, for our local community, we wanted people to know who's running, and we believe in terms of who you're going to support, it may not be the person running in your district, but you want that person to sort of get where they're going.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, that's actually who has been supporting me. I mean, the community has really supported me in a huge way. But with my fundraising, I'm getting most of my donations from outside of Inglewood. So, there are just other people who really want to see changes. And the community of Inglewood, I'm not sure if, everybody's pocketbooks ain't that big. A lot of, like I just said, the median income is $27,000,
Yeah.
And I don't come from a family of money. So I'm getting contributions from everywhere.
Yeah.
Good for
So,
you.
so I got one last question for you, because I think you got a shot here with 100,000 people if we get the vote out, right? So
Yes, thank you.
you probably crunched the numbers. How many votes do you need to win?
It is it's 600. The margin is so small.
It's
and
a small margin.
It could be smaller than that.
Yeah.
But my goal is to get people activated and excited about
Absolutely.
coming out to vote, and especially our young people. So right now we're working on getting approval from our education board so that we can go into our 3 high schools
Yes.
and talk to the students about the power and the importance of their vote, as well as register them to vote.
That's
You
beautiful.
know,
I love
so,
that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, we know our baby boomers vote.
Yeah.
But our baby boomers, a lot of them are like okay with the status quo, because
Yeah.
they are the ones who purchased their homes for $30,000 in the 70s, and now they're worth $1.2 million. And they're retired, and they're
Exactly.
like chilling. But then there's people like me, the millennials, and the other young people in the community who have followed the direction or the orders of what they have told us, like go to school, study hard,
Play
get
by
a
the rules,
degree,
and it's
Yeah.
not
and
working.
then, and did all that and can't even afford to live.
Can't afford to live. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
so-
Well, you are definitely not politics as usual, Ms. Dixon. I thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having
folks,
me.
this is what we're talking about when we say grassroots, and we say people that love us, that want to represent us. So we have to pay attention, and that's why we brought you here today. So thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you so very much. I
All right, and
appreciate
so
it.
Inglewood, show up and show out. We know y'all got until November. We know it'll be right before Thanksgiving.
You might have to
but
have a
we
party or
wanna,
something
yeah,
on
we're
election
gonna
night.
try.
Oh,
and-
I am.
Oh, you okay? All right. We're gonna turn up on election night.
Right, and I think we're gonna try and maybe have you in again a little bit closer to the election one
Yes,
more time,
please.
just so
Thank you.
people can make sure that they know who you are. This has been Politics in Black. I don't think we're taking calls today.
I think we ran out of time. Production team. Yeah, I think we ran out of time. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it here. But thanks again, folks, for sticking in with us, coming back for another live. There's a lot going on. We got one promo we're gonna
we
run.
have one more commercial.
Okay, one more commercial. We'll come back and we'll close. I think. Live TV.
After nearly 30 years in power, James Clyburn has the 6th poorest district among 435 districts in the country. We, his black constituents, have the shortest lives. lowest wealth, and own less homes now than we did during Jim Crow. Do we not deserve better? Greg Marcel Dixon has a plan to repair Black America. Reparations, reforming heirs property, reinstating the Freedmen's Bureau. We deserve better than James Clyburn. Let's vote like it. Vote for Greg Marcel Dixon to repair Black America, to fix America. South Carolina, after nearly 30 years in power, James Clyburn has the 6th poorest district among 435 districts in the country. We, his Black constituents, have the shortest lives, lowest wealth, and own less homes now than we did during Jim Crow. Do we not deserve better? Greg Marcel Dixon has a plan to repair Black America. Reparations, reforming heirs property, reinstating the Freedmen's Bureau. We deserve better than James Clyburn. Let's vote like it. Vote for Greg Marcel Dixon to repair Black America, to fix America.
We are back, family, and we were thinking about potentially taking some calls, but I think we're out of time.
We
here.
would. Look, if someone calls, we'll take your call. The number is 323-815-4204, 323-815-4204. But we did just want to wrap up with some feedback from the AB 3121 task force, and we all know that we were paying attention to the agenda for the last hearings, which were Wednesday and Thursday of last week.
Yep.
We very much were expecting there to be a beneficiary vote. It was a little surprising, really, to have task force members, Grills and Holder, to actually put forth a motion to actually stall making that decision pending feedback from their work group. And then the item 15 on the agenda was the work group, and then the work group couldn't be given a scope and weren't given like instructions on kind of what they were expected to do. And note, this is the work group whose report is due in December. So I have to admit, I was a little kind of taken aback by the fact that the work group didn't have marching orders. The beneficiary class certainly was not decided. And that there was now a need to have public hearings. And from my perspective, I feel like the anchor organizations are really just sort of getting motivated. So to me, it felt like, okay, we're going to delay today, but we're going to continue to delay because those things will not be in order in the next 4 weeks. I guarantee you that. So those are kind of just my concerns. I thought the chat was really, unfortunately, very disrespectful. I will say this: CJEC, NAASD-LA, and ARC have been very instrumental in these hearings from day one. It was a little disappointing to have new people into the chat space and just being what I would call inhumane, having no respect for another human being. Whether we agree or disagree with
keep it civil.
The narcs or the Encobras in the world, we have a responsibility to ourselves to be noble people.
Absolutely.
Even when some people, I don't think you always got to stay high like Michelle said, but I do think that there's a certain amount of self-respect that needs to be maintained. And because the chat is something that can be taken away at the DOJ, we definitely think that...
we got a caller?
We definitely think that it's important for us to maintain the integrity of the chat. And I appreciate Chris Logston with CJEC for managing the chat. We do have someone who called in, so let's go.
All right, let's go. Hello, caller. You got politics in black? Hi.
Yes, sir. Okay, I am ADOS, as we say, Freedman.
Yes.
How
you doing,
I want to
family?
let you guys. How you doing? My name is Quante Bryant, and I am in support. I am from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure you guys reach out. I know this is for this one in particular is for California, and we stand with you guys. You got more support
Thank you, fam.
than what
Thank you, fam.
you know, and that was us in the chat. From
Thanks,
all
Kansas
over.
City. Thank you so much.
You gotta show up wherever we are. It's not just California. Understand that we need all of us to show up wherever you live. But go ahead.
Hawaii.
I'm sorry.
Hawaii was in the chat. We're not playing.
That's
we
right.
there, and we're going to let them know that we stand with you guys.
That's the energy.
And what they thought was it was just going to be a few Californians that was there. But we was heavy in that check.
Hey.
That's what I'm talking about.
And also, too, I want to put out there, too, no matter what goes on between the foundation lineage of this country, whatever name you want to call it. I know we were Negroes, too, as well. Color as well. I don't give a doggone what's going on between all of us. We stand in solidarity because we know what the goal is.
That's right.
So they can't use none of this extra stuff that they're trying to use. We're not gonna allow it.
We are not going to allow it. Thank you.
No, thank
No,
you.
not.
Thank you so much, Carla. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, finish.
We can talk about that stuff later on because we know it's one true common goal, and all of us have a part in that. This is ours.
That's right. It belongs
This
to
is
all
our
of us. Yeah.
discipline.
Yeah.
And I saw Tariq. I hear perspective, ADOS perspective. Angela. I'm hearing Mr. Antonio Moore. We got Sandy Darity. We have a lot going on, and we always have. But what we're not going to do is allow Newsom, any Democrats, Republicans, or anybody else to go ahead and trample on us. We're not going to do this because we have one goal. And once we get that off the platform, then we can talk about whatever else.
Amen.
We stand with y'all.
Yeah.
We are with y'all. Please reach out.
Absolutely.
We have 1 month.
Yes.
We have 1 month.
And caller.
Mr. Chad.
So yeah, so I want to say something to that because I think you are absolutely spot on. If you are on Twitter or if you're on social media, check out Coalition for a Just and Equitable California's Twitter and Chris Lodgson, who was one of the principal organizers with CJEC. We already have calls to action out there to the public, and so we already are asking. We are already asking our folks around the country to call some of the people that
call Gavin Newsom, call Senator Bradford, call Assemblymember Joan Sawyer,
our elected officials, and don't just call them once, call them twice. Call them until you can't call anymore for the next month, because we definitely need the family on this. Because this is going to, again, set the precedent. We are trying to set the precedent in a template.
For HR 40. That is what we are fighting for. Yeah. That's what we're fighting for, the federal repair. And we have to get it right in California in order for it to be right at the federal level.
And to get it right, we need everybody. So I appreciate your energy. I appreciate your righteous indignation and anger. Continue that. Keep that. Fire it up. And when we come back in March, we need to be flooding the phone lines. We need to be flooding the chat. Once again, letting them know that lineage is the standard.
That's it. It's nothing else. You can't tell me. I was on also, too, and I'm not new to this because I started with you guys when we first started on Mondays and Wednesday nights.
Okay.
We first together, and we first started doing this. And I want to leave you guys with this.
Yep.
We going through it right now, and usually family do it. It's a lot of stuff go down, but with tears in our eyes, when you throw a chair, I'm throwing one too. This is president. This is president.
Mm-hmm.
We with y'all.
Yeah.
Nationwide. I know everything is there's a lot going on, but I know that the foundation is lineage, and at the end of the day, that's our as a whole.
Yeah. Amen.
Lineage. So thank you guys.
Thank you, caller.
I'm quiet. If you want to say something, I'm still listening in.
Okay.
And I'm here.
Thank you for calling in. Thank you. No,
Bye-bye.
She's absolutely right.
All right. And we want to make sure folks check CJEC official on Twitter, because there is a community meeting tonight at 5:30, and we want to make sure that everybody who watched the AB 3121 hearings, everyone who was outraged by it, if you go on Twitter to CJEC official, or you can go to the website because it's posted there to CJECofficial.org, CJECofficial.org. The 5:30 community meeting, we are going to have some calls to action, some things for the family to do, because we do have 30 days and we are not going to sit idle in our 30 days.
Yeah, I would also say if you're just, if you missed the meeting, you're kind of wondering what's going on. ETM Media today, this morning, did a great call in with, or a great show with Chris Lodgson, Umoya Glass, and Kim Mims, the ETM Media team, CJEC and ARC up there. And listen to that show. Go check out ETM Media. Check out the show they did this morning where they spoke about what happened on Thursday. Chris broke it down and gave great detail there. And also he went through the calls to action that we're asking folks to do that you just heard us speaking about, where we want to call our elected officials and we want to make sure that the public, their constituency, is demanding a lineage standard, and we're demanding a decision.
And
no more delays.
No more delays. And I want to put this on public record. I sent this email very early on in the AB 3121 hearings to the Reparations Task Force at doj.ca.gov. I actually know their email by heart. I sent a University of Washington study that showed very clearly the immigration into the state of California from 1850 to 2017. It was done by the University of Washington. You can Google it. It does this immigration detail and history by race. The predominant amount of Black people that actually immigrated into the state of California were from the Black South. These are our people, our freedmen people, our descendant community coming from the South, Texas, and Louisiana mainly over into California. You do not see, God bless our immigrant and diasporan brothers and sisters, but according to the actual data, you do not see them show up until around the 1990s, the early 90s, and then the numbers, to be quite honest, are off the charts. And so you can't have a repair for the California state came into the Union in 1852. They came in. And they didn't come in as a slave owning state, but they had slave recapture laws. Mm-hmm. And so you can't have a community that has been disadvantaged over significant amounts of time, generation after generation after generation, and say that community is on equal footing with everyone else. And I love my brothers and sisters. I have said this publicly very many times. I have the Barbados. I'm fake Rihanna's fake cousin from the Fenties.
Related to everybody.
I'm related to everybody from the Bahamas. Well, look, I could draw it out because the Fenties married a Waith, and y'all saw Lena Waith on there finding out that she was from Barbados too. So I claim I'm related to everybody.
I'm plain old Negro.
But my point with that is, our Caribbean friends, family, our allies have to help us with this mission. This is not us being in any way selfish. This is the work that wasn't done during Reconstruction, and we are here to complete it today. And we ask that you stand with us. We ask our African brothers and sisters. I've worked with some fantastic people in South Africa who have really, really just phenomenal people, and they understand the plight that we're going through. I've talked to some wonderful people in Bermuda who also understand what it is that we're going through here, and they have been very supportive. And so I want to make the call to our diasporan family who understands the fight that we have been in, the fight that our parents and grandparents have been in and lived through those Jim Crow laws, and they still around managing their trauma, managing their lives, and disinherited. I want to use the word inheritance. They have been disinherited from what was truly theirs in terms of financial wealth building and prosperity in this country, because they did not have full constitutional rights. And so we want you to stand with us. AB 3121's March hearings are coming. And so we want you to show up with us in support. And we thank you. I don't know if we have anything more else to give.
I don't think any more callers. I think we're wrapping up.
We
thank
have
you, fam.
no more callers.
Yeah.
So.
Happy Black History Month. Happy Freedmen History Month. Thank you for being back here with us. We're gonna wrap right here. But once again, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be back in March. You want to know when we're coming back, because we're going to have some good information, and we're going to be talking to some folks you might want to hear from.
Peace, love, and reparations, y'all.
By any means necessary.